Good morning. Today's Bible reading comes from 1 Kings 3 and 4, 2 Chronicles 1, and Psalm 72. Let's hope I can get through this. It'll be okay. Really, it will be. Solomon arranged a marriage contract with Pharaoh, king of Egypt. He married Pharaoh's daughter and brought her to the city of David until she had completed building his royal palace and God's temple and the wall around Jerusalem. Meanwhile, the people were worshiping at local shrines because at that time no temple had yet been built in the name of God. Samuel loved God and continued to live in the God-honoring ways of David his father, except that he also worshipped at the local shrines, offering sacrifices and burning incense. The king went to Gibeon, the most prestigious of the local shrines, to worship. He sacrificed 1,000 whole burnt offerings on that altar. That night there in Gibeon, God appeared to Solomon in a dream. God said, "What can I give you? Ask." Solomon said, "You were extravagantly generous in love with David my father, and he lived faithfully in your presence. His relationships were just and his heart right, and you have persisted in this great and generous love by giving him, and this very day, a son to sit on his throne. And now here I am, God, my God. You have made me your servant, ruler of the kingdom, in place of David, my father. I'm too young for this, a mere child. I don't know the ropes, hardly know the ins and outs of this job. And here I am, set down in the middle of the people you've chosen, a great people, far too many to ever count. Here's what I want. Give me a God-listening heart, so I can lead your people well, discerning the difference between good and evil. For who on their own is capable of leading your glorious people?" God the Master was delighted with Solomon's response, and God said to him, "Because you have asked for this and haven't grasped after a long life, or riches, or the doom of your enemies, but you have asked for this ability to lead and govern well, I'll give you what you've asked for. I'm giving you a wise and mature heart. There's never been one like you before, and there'll never be one after you. As a bonus, I'm giving you both the wealth and glory you didn't ask for. There's not a king anywhere who will come up to your mark, and if you stay on course, keeping your eye on the life map and the God signs as your father David did, I'll also give you a long life." Solomon woke up. What a dream. He returned to Jerusalem, took his place before the chest of the covenant of God, and worshipped by sacrificing whole burnt offerings and peace offerings. Then he laid out a banquet for everyone in his service. The very next thing, 2 prostitutes showed up before the king. The one woman said, "My master, this woman and I live in the same house. While we were living together, I had a baby. 3 days after I gave birth, this woman also had a baby. We were alone. There wasn't anyone else in the house except for the 2 of us. The infant son of this woman died one night when she rolled over on him in her sleep. She got up in the middle of the night and took my son. I was sound asleep, mind you, and put him at her breast and put her dead son at my breast. When I got up in the morning to nurse my son, here was this dead baby. But when I looked at him in the morning light, I saw immediately that he wasn't my baby." "Not so," said the other woman. "The living one's mine, the dead one's yours." The first woman countered, "No, Your son's the dead one, mine's the living one. They went back and forth this way in front of the king. The king said, What are we to do? This woman says, the living son is mine and the dead son is yours. And this woman says, no, the dead one's yours and the living one's mine. After a moment, the king said, bring me a sword. They brought the sword to the king. Then he said, cut the living baby in two, give half to one and half to the other. The real mother of the living baby was overcome with emotion for her son and said, oh no, master, give her the whole baby alive. Don't kill him. But the other one said, if I can't have him, you can't have him. Cut away. The king gave his decision. Give the living baby to the first woman. Nobody is going to kill this baby. She is the real mother. The word got around. Everyone in Israel heard of the king's judgment. They were all in awe of the king, realizing that it was God's wisdom that enabled him to judge truly. King Solomon was off to a good start ruling Israel. These were the leaders in his government. Azariah, son of Zadok the priest, Eliahoreph and Ahijah, sons of Shisha, secretaries, Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, historian, Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, commander of the army, Zadok and Abiathar, priest, Azariah, son of Nathan, in charge of the regional managers, Zabad, son of Nathan, priest and friend to the king, Ahishar, manager of the palace, Adoniram, son of Abda, manager of the slave labor. Solomon had 12 regional managers distributed throughout Israel. They were responsible for supplying provisions for the king and his administration. Each was in charge of bringing supplies for 1 month of the year. These are the names: Ben-Hur in the Ephraim hills, Ben-Deker in Makar, Shalbim, Beth-Shemesh, and Elon Beth-Hanan. Ben-Hesed in Aruboth. This included Sukkah and all of Hefer, or Hefer. Ben-Abinadab in Naphoth Dor. He was married to Solomon's daughter, Taphath. Bana, son of Ahilud, in Tanakh and Megiddo, all of Beth-Shan next to Zarathan, below Jezreel, and from Beth-Shan to Abel-Maholah, over to Jokmeam. Ben-Geber in Ramoth Gilead. This included the villages of Jair, son of Manasseh, to Gilead, and the region of Argob, in Bashan, with its 60 large walled cities with bronze-studded gates. Ahinadab, son of Edo, in Mahanaim. Ahimaaz to Naphtali. He was married to Solomon's daughter, Besemath. Sometimes it gets hard to read these things. Bana, son of Hashul, in Asher and Aloth. Ushai. Jehoshaphat, son of Parua, in Issachar. Shimei, son of Elah, in Benjamin. Geber, son of Uri, in Gilead. This was the country of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and also Og, king of Bashan. He managed whole district by himself. Judah and Israel were densely populated, like sand on an ocean beach. All their needs were met. They ate, drank, and were happy. Solomon was sovereign over all the kingdoms from the river Euphrates in the east to the country of the Philistines in the west, all the way to the border of Egypt. They brought tribute and were vassals of Solomon all his life. One day's food supply for Solomon's household was 185 bushels of fine flour, 375 bushels of meal, 10 grain-fed cattle, 20 range cattle, 100 sheep, and miscellaneous deer, gazelles, roebucks, and choice fowl. Solomon was sovereign over everything, countries and kings west of the river Euphrates, from Tipshah to Gaza. Peace reigned everywhere throughout Solomon's life. Everyone in Israel and Judah lived safe and sound, all of them from Dan in the north to Beersheba in the south, content with what they had. Solomon had 40,000 stalls for chariot horses and 12,000 horsemen. The district managers, each according to his assigned month, delivered food supplies for King Solomon and all who sat at the king's table. There was always plenty. They also brought to the designated place their assigned quota of barley and straw for the horses. God gave Solomon wisdom, the deepest of understanding and the largest of hearts. There was nothing beyond him that he couldn't handle. Solomon's wisdom outclassed the vaunted wisdom of wise men of the East, outshone the famous wisdom of Egypt. He was wiser than anyone, wiser than Ethan, the Ezrahite, wiser than Heman, wiser than Calcol, and Darda, the sons of Mahal. He became famous among all the surrounding nations. He created 3,000 proverbs. His songs added up to 1,005. He knew all about plants, from the huge cedar that grows in the Lebanon to the tiny hyssop that grows in the cracks of a wall. He understood everything about animals and birds, reptiles and fish, sent by kings from all over the earth who had heard of his reputation. People came from far and near to listen to the wisdom of Solomon. 2 Chronicles chapter 1. Solomon, son of David, took a firm grip on the reins of his kingdom. God was with him and gave him much help. Solomon addressed all Israel, the commanders and captains, the judges, every leader, and all the heads of families. Then Solomon and the entire company went to the worship center at Gibeon. Somehow that just was not looking right. Sorry about that. That's where the tent of meeting of God was, the one that Moses, the servant of God, had made in the wilderness. The chest of God, though, was in Jerusalem. David had brought it up from Kiriath Jearim, prepared a special place for it, and pitched a tent for it. But the bronze altar that Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, had made was in Gibeon, in its place before the tabernacle of God, and that is where Solomon and the congregation gathered to pray. Solomon worshipped God at the bronze altar in front of the tent of meeting. He sacrificed 1,000 whole burnt offerings on it. That night God appeared to Solomon, and God said, "What do you want from me? Ask." Solomon answered, "You are extravagantly generous with David, my father, and now you have made me king in his place. Establish, God, the words you spoke to my father, for you've given me a staggering task, ruling this mob of people. Yes, give me wisdom and knowledge as I come and go among this people. For who on his own is capable of leading these, your glorious people? God answered Solomon, "This is what has come out of your heart. You didn't grasp for money, wealth, fame, and the doom of your enemies. You didn't even ask for a long life. You asked for wisdom and knowledge so you could govern well my people over whom I've made your king. Because of this, you get what you asked for, wisdom and knowledge, and I'm presenting you the rest as a bonus. Money, wealth, fame beyond anything the kings before or after you had or will have." Then Solomon left the worship center at Gibeon and the tent of meeting and went to Jerusalem. He went to work as king of Israel. Solomon collected chariots and horses, 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horses. He stabled them in the special chariot cities as well as in Jerusalem. The king made silver and gold as common as rocks, and cedar as common as fig trees in the lowland hills. His horses were brought in from Egypt and Cilicia, specially acquired for the king's agents. Chariots from Egypt went for 15 pounds of silver, and a horse for about 3¾ of a pound of silver. Solomon carried on a brisk horse trading business with the Hittite and the Aramean royal houses. Psalm 72, a Solomon psalm. Give the gift of wise rule to the king, O God, the gift of just rule to the crown prince. May he judge your people rightly, be honorable to your meek and lowly. Let the mountains give exuberant witnesses. Shape the hills with contours of right living. Please stand up for the poor. Help the children of the needy. Come down hard on the cruel tyrants. Outlast the sun, outlive the moon, age after age after age. Be rainfall on cut grass, earth refreshing rain showers. Let righteousness burst into blossom, and peace abound until the moon fades to nothing. Rule from sea to sea, from the river to the rim. Foes will fall on their knees before God. His enemies lick the dust. Kings remote and legendary will pay homage. Kings rich and resplendent will turn over their wealth. All kings will bow down and worship, and godless nations sign up to serve him. Because he rescues the poor at the first sign of need, the destitute who have run out of luck. He opens a place in his heart for the down and out. He restores the wretched of the earth. He frees them from tyranny and torture. When they bleed, he bleeds. When they die, he dies. And live, oh, let him live. Deck him out in Sheba gold. Offer prayers unceasing to him. Bless him from morning to night. Fields of golden grain in the land. Cresting the mountains in wild exuberance, cornucopias of praises springing forth from the city like grass from the earth. May he never be forgotten, his fame shine on like sunshine. May all godless people enter his circle of blessing and bless the one who blessed them. Blessed God, Israel's God, the one and only wonder-working God. Blessed always his blazing glory. All earth brims with his glory. Yes, and yes, and yes. And that is it for today's Bible reading. As always, get in touch with God today, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye.